Uh, so without wasting much time, I think let's start with what is happening around markets. How do they look, and where are we in this market cycle? So starting with Dow Jones, mother of all markets. So this is a chart from 1900 till date. So almost a century old chart. uh, Amazing. See, so I've just tried to show you how markets trade within the patterns, and how can we try to read uh, the moves of the markets. Okay, so right uh, from nine, what I can say, 1900. Okay, right from here. So the market was trading between this channel pattern. Okay, and it traded for almost 25 years. So this is a monthly chart. So 25 years the market was trading between this channel pattern. It broke the channel pattern, and from there, after breaking this channel pattern, it went almost 165%, and you know then corrected. So when we talk about, this is the 1930 crash, by the way, people, if you have not heard about it, this is the crash that happened in 1930, once in a century kind of a phenomenon, where the stock markets, where if the stock market correct by 20-25%, it's a big thing for people and stock market participants. But here, if you see, the markets corrected by 89%, which is, you can imagine what must have happened to people who were there part of this markets. Okay, so this is the market correction. Okay, that started in, I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm just trying to take you through the market cycles. So April 30, sorry, 1930 is the crash started, and it was crashing for 2 years. So it was a bear market for 2 years, and that too crazy bear market, like selling that was never seen before. And after this, when it hit the rock bottom in 1932, after 2 years of bear market, it again started reviving, again started a new channel pattern. Okay, and if you see, uh, Jan 50, Jan 55 or 1955. So from 32 till 55. So almost 20 years, 20-25 years it took to recover and break the previous high. So this high of 1930s. Okay, so it took 25 years, and it broke the high here, around here in 1955. And from here, the price is trading between the channel pattern. It is respecting this channel pattern. Whenever it tries to reaches the top trend line of the channel, it sees a sell pressure and reverses. Again in 1965, the markets went into a long bear market, wherein from 1965 till almost 82, so 15 to 20 years, again the market was in bear territory. It was consolidating, or it was in downtrend. From here, again the market broke its previous high, previous I'm going to say the lower high, and the trend was changed. And here we saw in 2000, the tech bubble. Okay, so these are the bubbles basically. Here it was a stock market bubble, where people were going gung-ho about stock market. Everybody was investing their money into stock market, and they were thinking that stock market can never go down, and this is the bubble that had burst. Then after that, couple of ups and downs, and then this was the tech bubble of 2000 Y2K boom. And from the year, then markets again corrected, and none of the falls were as dangerous as 1930 fall. So after that, all the falls were, if you see, around 50, 60 odd percent, not more than that. So the so this was the fall, 40% fall. And if you see the 1960 fall, you know, it was again a 38% fall, but a long bear market. Yeah. So in 2000, the fall was again 36% fall. And this is the fall of 2008, the Lehman crisis. And this was 60% fall, 50 to 60% fall. Okay. Now, let me just zoom in. So, if you see, long story short, we are trading into this channel pattern again for almost, um, if you see from here, 1937 till date. So almost, 90 years we are trading into this channel pattern. So this is a strong pattern. And uh, now when we try to zoom in, okay, so just let me read it. So this was the channel pattern which it broke and went above, and had a run of almost 150 percent plus within 26 to within 4 5 years. Now similarly, okay, we have broken a multi-year pattern over here. Okay, if you see, this is the pattern that has been broken, and right from here, which is 2016, okay, uh, there's a new run that has been seen. And right here in March 2020, last year, we saw a crash. So whenever the patterns break, generally the price comes and retests the previous resistance and tests it as support. And from there again the next leg of bull run is seen. So similarly that happened. This pattern was broken in 2016, and we went here, and again we were trading into a megaphone pattern. So this is the pattern. Okay, after breaking here, we had a good rally. And from January 2018, we were consolidating, and this megaphone pattern was formed again. 2020 we retested, okay, here the previous pattern that we broke, we retested it as support. Right from here the markets bounced back, and now we have broken this pattern. Okay, now as we discuss, whenever the pattern is broken, the price comes back to test the resistance as a support. So it takes, so this was the previous resistance which was broken, and now it has become the support. Now generally price comes back to retest it. So here we saw a dip, okay, which was hardly 6% dip, and it was bought back. So if you see, this is the June month, and here we are. It was hardly a 5% dip, and which was bought back. Okay. And whenever there's a bull market, the basic ingredient or the basic parameter of the bull market is liquidity. So if you see, there is tremendous liquidity all over the globe because of this pandemic. Everybody is printing money, and because of that, the purchasing power of their respective currencies have gone down. So with $1, whatever, or with 10 rupees, whatever we used to buy, 3 years back, probably, or 5 years back, probably that has become worth of 20 rupees, or $2. So that way inflation is eating away the purchasing power. And that's the reason why we see this bull run. All the asset classes that can beat inflation are going up, because money always chases those asset classes that can beat inflation and provide superior returns, market beating returns or inflation beating returns. So I cannot say this is a retest, but the price tried to retest, but there is so much of liquidity that it got bought up within 5% of the correction in the stock market. And now we are, trading somewhere at around 35 or 34,000 odd levels for Dow Jones. Now the next resistance for Dow Jones is here. Okay, so after breaking this pattern, last time in 19 before the 1930s, in 1925, 1926, when it broke the channel pattern, it went up almost 150%. So how the pattern works is generally, okay, not a thumb rule, but generally whatever is the depth of the patterns. Okay, for example, this is the depth of the pattern. So now when the pattern has been broken, it will exactly cover the same distance, okay, of the depth. So if we see, the stock market should do this level of the run. I mean, 40 to 43,000 is the levels which stock market should see, not immediately, but over a period of time, probably 1 or 2 years more from here. Okay, and right ahead of that we can see the resistance over here at 50 or 1000 points on Dow Jones. So through the charts, what we can see is we are in the middle of the bull run, but yes, towards the upper side. So if this is the channel pattern, okay, if this is the channel pattern, we are continuously trading above the median. Okay, so if I had to draw the median for this, so if I don't know if it will allow me to, yeah. So this can be the median, okay, of this pattern. So we are trading right above the median, okay, right above the median at the on the bullish side, and we still have around 25. So this is 39% of from the levels that it broke. But if we have to calculate from the current levels, okay, then probably another 25 percent to go just to complete the pattern, and from here another 40% to go. Okay, and if it consolidates for a few months over here, and then it resumes uptrend, then probably we go much higher from here, around 52,000. So if you ask me, yes, we may see the continuation of this bull run for another 2 to 3 years before we see a huge crash. Definitely that is coming. When, we can't say, we can't time the market, but whenever we get clues from the market, we have to see and position ourselves in terms of risk and reward. And the first support for the market whenever it corrects should be this trend line, okay, of the previous pattern. So it should correct till here. If not this, then the second support will be this, okay. And if not this, then probably what happened in 1930s, the history may repeat. Okay, so so right now looks healthy. The stock market looks healthy. Now let us move to the crypto market. So stock market is the markets from where all the markets take cues, and accordingly we see money flowing to different markets. Now this is a logarithmic chart, okay, of the Bitcoin. Now it started, as per the data that is available from Bitfinex, one of the oldest exchanges, okay, from 1913 we have the data, and according to this logarithmic data, we have tried to draw a chart, a logarithmic regression chart. Based on that, okay, we are trading right below the median. So this is the median, the highlighted white line, which goes right in between these two what I can say lines, the upper trend line and the lower one. So this is the median, and you know this is the trend line. Yeah, so this is the trend line which is being seen, okay, where Bitcoin is taking support right from March 20 levels. Okay, so this is a new trend that has been set from here. Okay, we in August 20 we took support over here, so it is marked as the second support after this. So when we connect these two dots, okay, this is the support, okay, third support that Bitcoin is taking. Okay, and in our previous calls we tried to explain it to you, saying that suppose if something goes wrong with the stock market and if this support is broken, Bitcoin may see levels of 20,000, okay, 20,000 odd dollars. Bitcoin may come down, you know, take support or see a huge buying demand from here and bounce back. And if it happens, then probably we can see a V-shaped recovery, and the price will bounce back, and then our the upper band extends further, and from here, if we go, if Bitcoin goes for 1 or 2 years of bull run, then probably by 2021 or 2022 year we see almost $150,000 worth of Bitcoin as per the pattern. Whenever the price is at support, immaterial of whether it breaks the support or it doesn't break the support, Bitcoin is an asset class which I personally believe is here to it is here to stay, and it's been a decade, long way to go ahead. It's a better asset class than gold, if you ask me. Okay, I may be wrong as compared to others' views. Why? Because see, when you talk about gold, there is a lot of maintenance that comes with gold. You have 1 kg worth of gold, or 10 grams worth of gold. You need a locker, or you have to store it somewhere in a very safe way. And then whenever, suppose if you have like sizable quantity of gold, if you are moving, then the portability becomes the issue. And when you portability becomes the issue, storage becomes the issue. When it comes to Bitcoin, all of these issues are taken care of. Moreover, the gold supply is going up by 2% every year, and Bitcoin, after 21 million Bitcoins are mined, there are no Bitcoins that can be mined further. So I think it is a robust asset class as compared to gold. People who call it as digital gold, it is it has better qualities than gold. That is what I can say. And I truly believe in Bitcoin. And suppose it breaks also, I'll be the one who will be buying more Bitcoin if at all I have cash with me. So right now, as Bitcoin hit this support level, I am 100% invested, and I do not have cash to further, take advantage of the dip. But yeah, that is my stance. And similarly, if we see a bounce back, so in terms of risk and reward, even if we approach the market now, okay, here at this support, from here, what is our risk? Our risk is probably 40%. Okay, and when we talk of the reward, what is our reward? Sorry, not so our rewards. Our reward is right here, 250%. So it is 1:6 risk reward. So it is a no-brainer for me. If I lose, I lose like 40%, and that too is a quotational loss. It doesn't mean that I lose that money forever. So if it has to go down, I may see 40% dip in my portfolio, on my portfolio, and if it has to go up, the reward is 250% with Bitcoin. Just imagine what is going to happen to the altcoins. So there are many altcoins, good projects, fundamentally strong projects that did not even break their previous all-time high. So what is going to happen to those projects? They are going to go bonkers from here. And trust me, uh, the best time to approach, enter the market is when there is a lot of pessimism, and the prices, the candles are in red. So this is the best time. And moreover, I wanted to share a few more insights with you guys, and that is, so here, if you see, whenever the prices so how the market and the institutions and the big money, the smart money works is, They are just waiting for the drop. Like for example, the wildlife. When you think of the wildlife, the lion and the tiger. Okay, they never go and attack their prey. Okay, anytime. So they wait for the right time, the right opportunity, and spot the weak ones, and that's when they attack. Okay, and that's when they get their share of fulfilling their hunger. Similarly, the institutions, the smart guys, the smart money, okay, they wait for the right opportunity whenever they think the price is rock bottom, or there is less of risk and more of reward. That is the time they come in with huge money, and that can be seen on charts. Like if you see over here, the prices were dropping from January 2018, and in for 8 9 months the prices were dropping. Okay, the volumes were going down. All of a sudden, okay, here in November 18, and right after November, or end of the year, all of a sudden, if you see, this is the volume graph with 20 weekly moving average. Okay, so this is the weekly chart, and this is 20 candles moving average. So all of a sudden you see that 20 EMA is broken, and though the candle close in red, but the can you see the volume? So the average volume of last 1 year, double that volume. Somebody bought truckloads of Bitcoin over here. Okay, so these are the institutions. These are not retailers like you, me, and these are the big institutions like the pension funds, or the institutions like probably JP, Goldman, or some other big time traders. Like there are a lot of traders who have net worth of $5 or $10 billion, and lots and lots of people must have filled their bags over here in 1918. And we see this drop. Whenever in drop, in downturn, you see huge volume. That is the time it says that somebody is buying big amount of Bitcoins. And same was seen here in March 20 crash. This is the volume that just exploded the median EMA and came out like crazy. If you see right here on the support, same thing has been seen. Okay, that you see 2 weeks above average buying, or 2x buying of the normal volume over here. So this three occasions, okay, during the fall, the institution or the smart money is buying. So we have to decide whether we have to be the smart ones, or we have to buy it over here. Okay, so this is the opportunity for those who missed this bull cycle, which started right it started from here. We saw the buying, but the actual signal, or the actual what I can say, indicator saying that the tide has turned, and we are into the bull cycle. So this is the pattern. So that it's a basic theory, Dow theory. Whenever you are in bear market, price makes lower highs and lower lows. So this was the high, this was the lower high, this was the lower high, this was the lower high, and as the price is in uptrend, it makes higher highs. So from here, the previous lower high was this one. Okay, somewhere at around 9,900. So the price broke its previous lower high over here, and made a new high of 12,000. Again took a support over here, did not go down. So the lower high or the higher high was not broken. From here, as per the simple Dow theory, higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. If you see now, I'll just try to zoom in. As per this data, okay, sorry, as per this chart, this is the lower this is the higher low. Okay, if you see 2800, just check this low. Okay, 2008, sorry, 28,989 was the low. Okay, so this is the higher low because we are in uptrend. Now if you see, we have still not broken that 28,989 levels because this is the low. Okay, it is 29,247. This is the low, it is 29,563, and our low, higher low is 28,989. So as per the Dow theory, the basic thing that anybody can understand is higher highs and higher lows is uptrend. So we are still in uptrend. Okay, once this is broken, then probably we can see, we can say that yes boss, the tide has turned, and probably we are in a downtrend again, and this is the support of that downtrend. From here the prices should reverse. So this is the worst case scenario, this is the current scenario, and the best case scenario is price making a v-shaped recovery from here and just banging the roof over here. So this is what the Bitcoin chart says, supported by the stock market. Stock market, if it remains, if it sustains this level, we see a revival over here. So one more data, that helps us understanding the markets is the dollar index. Okay, so now the recent trend from 2017, if we see, so the 2017 bull market, when it started, okay, at that time the dollar index was in downtrend. Okay, so the dollar was weak as compared, with respect to the dollar index. So when the dollar index goes down, so basically it is inversely correlated with Bitcoin price. Okay, so now from 2017 January till you know January 2018, the dollar index was in downturn vis-a-vis the Bitcoin, and the crypto market was in bull market. Okay, as the tide turned, when the dollar index resumed the uptrend or started going up. Okay, so this is the time exactly when the market topped in January 2018. Okay, I can show it to you. So see right here, January 2018, right here, the market topped. And from January 17, okay, if you see, the Bitcoin was at 900 levels, went to 18,000 or 19,000. So it went up 20x within 1 year, and it fizzled out right in January 2018, and from here the downturn was till December 18. Similarly, okay, here, so as dollar weakened, okay, Bitcoin went up. Dollar strengthening, Bitcoin was down. March 20, okay, after the crash, dollar weakens again and Bitcoin takes the lead again. Okay, so Bitcoin is inversely proportional to the dollar, or the dollar index, and from here again the dollar was weakening, and right May, in the month of May, we saw a correction in Bitcoin of 50%. So here the dollar is just trying to pull back. So if dollar from here breaks the trend and starts going up, we may see further weakness in crypto markets. Now the beauty is that, let us just try to draw a simple trend line over here. Okay, so we'll come to know basically what the chart is saying, and how the institutions and the market participants are positioning themselves. Okay, so the basic trend line joining the support points. If you see, this is the support, first support, this is the second support. Here it broke. Okay, and as per our what I can say, discussion in this call, price always comes and retests. Okay, maybe a pattern break towards upside or downside. So this pattern is broken. Now the price is coming and retesting this. Okay, And if it sees as resistance over here, from here it will again reverse and start a downtrend. Okay, now this is the chart, what it is saying. Let us try to analyze the market conditions, what is happening around in market. Okay, I think US America's debt has skyrocketed from Lehman crisis. Okay, and they have printed a hell lot of money in this pandemic. So with that, means a common man can say that the purchasing power of the dollar is going to go down because there's a lot of supply that is coming out in the market with the printed dollar, and because of that, the dollar will lose its purchasing power. Okay, and that is what is happening, right? So the dollar is weakening, it is going down. So as per the fundamentals that we can understand and that is happening around us, dollar is weakening and the dollar should weaken because of the debt and the money printing that is happening. So if dollar weakens, money flows to the asset class that outperforms the inflation. So as dollar goes down, the inflation goes up. Inflation goes up, money chases all the asset classes that has potential to beat inflation and preserve their purchasing power in terms of hedging against inflation or something like that. So that has been happening. So with all of this, maybe it is it sounds boring to you, but I am so much passionate about all of this that I can talk for hours and hours. So with all these points that we just discussed in this call, what I can see is dollar weakens further, money flows to Bitcoin and equity markets again, and crypto markets again resume back and resume back the uptrend, and we see another leg of bull run from here, probably which goes 6 to 12 months or 18 months from here. So in terms of time cycle, all of the systems and algorithms are indicating that it is mid of 2022. Till that time, we may see this bull run extending, and Bitcoin on rise. So let us wait and watch. Whenever on the way we get such opportunities of 50-60% dip, we should take advantage of it, and just what if one has to approach this market and make wealth, create wealth out of this and not trade. I would just say just hodl and don't do anything. Just hodl to your position. Make sure you are into best of the projects. If you don't understand anything, just stick to Bitcoin. I'm not here to sell or talk about and boast of minting M and our services. If you don't understand anything, just stick to Bitcoin. If you want to outperform Bitcoin further, like you have professionals into stock market, like the PMS guys, the mutual fund guys, you take professional help. If you want to beat Nifty, if you want to beat Bitcoin, we are here, one of the professionals, always ready, and always ready to help you guys, and deliver that alpha over Bitcoin. So this is the overall what I can say, a discussion or a presentation or chart analysis, what I have to present today. And with this, I think I'll conclude this call. I mean to say conclude this analysis of talking about charts, markets, and things like that. And we can open the call for Q&A. And we will try to talk about markets and not about individual coins, because that does not make sense to talk about individual coins. So let us try to take good and serious questions, and not short term or trading ideas or tips regarding individual tokens. So
Right. So Jitesh, so what we'll do is, everyone, there is an emoji option available, the reactions option. That basically there is an option of raising your hand, right? So whoever has any question would like to get on the call with Jitesh, we'll accordingly take you on the call. Okay, so we already have a few hands raising, so we'll start. So I'll start to you. So I'll ask you to unmute. Accordingly, unmute, and once your question is done, please mute yourself so we can accommodate other questions as well. All right. So Anshul Agarwal, you're coming onto the line. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Jitesh, for this. Very helpful and interesting. So my question to you is, sorry, am I audible? I
Yeah,
didn't
you're
check.
you're audible.
Yeah, Anshul. Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear you.
okay. All right, Jitesh. So question is, see, my understanding is like there was a Fed meeting recently, and they mentioned that they will increase the base rate twice in the next 2 years.
Mhm.
And I mean, how are we assuming that the money supply will and the money printing will continue until maybe 2022? Because things are looking brighter for US, and given the pandemic situation is kind of behind,
Mhm.
and the industries are opening up. So
Mhm.
I mean, is there a risk that the money printing may stop for some time in the next 1 or 2 years or before that?
Yeah, so I think that's a good question, Anshul, by the way. And I'm glad that you follow, Fed and what is happening around the world, like money printing and things like that. So, I think there was an article which we shared into our groups that, US is ready with another, $3 trillion money print, three or six, I'm not sure, $6 trillion money printing for the year 2022. So money printing is going on, and the rationale behind it is, if one has to run the nation. So in pandemic, everybody is sitting at home. Okay, so the guys who can work from home, they can still, operate and carry out their business as usual activities. But the guys who are on daily wages and things like that, for them it really becomes difficult to earn money and survive in this time. And US is just trying to what I can say, maintain or sustain their standard of living, and trying to support their what I can say, citizens, by printing money and taking care of them in this pandemic. Why? Because there's no source of earning. And slowly, as the markets open up, like we can see all around the globe that the vaccination drives are going good in a very smooth way. And in US, or also in country like India, which is the like one of the biggest populations after China, so we are also having good vaccination drive. So as the economy opens up, okay, and the money starts flowing into the system, that's when probably the Fed may not print money. But till that time, they have to take care of their citizens, and the money printing will go on. And that's how, even if money, so to analyze it in other way, if money printing stops today, okay, so there's already a 2 trillion stimulus that is there, you know that has been given to the corporates to take care of the, what I can say, the state activities, that is still there. So there is yet one chunk of stimulus that is yet to hit the market. Okay, so I see this liquidity continuing and not drying up. Until the time liquidity is there, as I said, it is one of the essential ingredients and parameter of the bull market. So the prices will keep pumping as the liquidity comes in. So I see it going to another year or two.
And by the way, Jitesh, that is 6 million, 6 million, sorry, 6 trillion
Yeah,
ka
6 trillion. Yes, yes, yes.
stimulus has been done. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was not sure about that. So
Uh,
I just recollected it is 6 trillion. Yeah, so six
yeah.
trillion is a huge money, by the way. It's more than GDP of India. So it's just, we are just sitting on 3 trillion. So it is 2x of Indian GDP. So that kind of money printing is happening. So it will chase all the asset class, like stock markets or the commodity, or the crypto markets, for that matter.
All right, Anshul, I hope
I hope I have answered your question, Anshul.
that is on mute. So we'll move on to, so Anshul, you can drop the hand emoji. So we'll move to the next person, Bhavesh Manik. I'm adding you onto the call.
So, Jitesh sir, my question was on the same that don't you think that inflation is there will be hyperinflation?
Yeah, there is already inflation. If you see, the commodities prices are going off the roof, and you know everything is. Means if you follow the stock market, the sugar stocks are going crazy, the steel stocks are going crazy. Why? Because everybody the smart money is factoring in this hyperinflation, and that's the reason why everything is going up now. Okay, so they are discounting, or they are factoring in that the prices are going to go up, and accordingly the assets are getting inflated. That can be seen in stock market. If you see commodity, even gold and silver now they are resting, but probably again we will see a breakout as the dollar weakens. The gold and silver will be the first one to break out, and that is another cycle that will start in the metals, that is commodity.
So my another question. Hello.
Can you be a bit louder, Bhavish? And
So
also,
my okay.
Kevin, let us stick to two questions per candidate.
Yep.
Yeah, continue, Bhavish.
He's muting himself. Just yeah, hold on.
So I am having a bad habit of unmuting me because of disturbance. So I was saying that can you please give me glimpse about crypto fundamentals?
Claims as in, see, I'll just try to give you the high level, points that one should see. Firstly, if you firstly you should understand, if you understand technology. Okay, I'm going to say blockchain technology or whatever is the underlying technology of the project. Okay, if not that, try to explore that aspect. Secondly, try to see the very important part is whether the team behind that project is anonymous, whether it is a DAO, that is um, uh, uh, a decentralized or a non-profit organization. Okay, so once you get to know about the team, then probably you are in a better position to analyze that project. Whether, so for example, if you know that the founders are good, and they have done some good projects in past, then most probably they are experienced, and they will try to deliver a good project this time as well. Okay, but if you know that the team members or the founders have a shady past, then there is a probability that this time also they may do something fishy. So firstly, the project, the project, what problem that they are trying to solve. Secondly, the team, uh, uh, you know uh, uh, behind the project. And thirdly, what is the competition. If, like for example, if there are hundreds of people trying to solve the same problem, so there will be a lot of competition, and the market share will be divided amongst all. So one need to do the basic research towards this point. And just to make these things easy, so Bhavish, I'm not sure if you follow our channel. So every Friday we pick one of the fundamental projects that is part of our universe of investable tokens, and we try to cover them in depth, exclusively. Okay, so there now we have included this thing called as minting M rating. Okay, so we have a matrix. Okay, which evaluates the strength of the project. So if you see, the recent one was BAT. Okay, basic attention token, and we have given the in-depth analysis of the project. So with that, you can take some learning as to how we approach any project fundamentally, and also have a look towards the rating metrics that is there at the end of the report. So you will understand what are the parameters that one has to look after when they evaluate or analyze any project in terms of fundamentals or technical. I hope I answer your question.
Okay. Also, I want to ask one last thing that which website to refer for this?
So the project website, that is the genuine website from where you'll get all the data. So you have to go through the white paper. the details that they have on the website, and all the what I can say, the plans, the roadmap ahead for that website. So for example, you go to koti.io, or BAT's website, or just search for their white paper on Google. You'll get to know everything about the project. So stick to the sources from the project, and not somebody else writing about what they think about the project. Okay, so
So
basically
this is
white
all,
paper is the one.
yeah. So also I'd like to add something here. Yeah, I'd like to also add something that you can get a lot of information from their Telegram channels. So most of these projects, they always have a Telegram group where discussions are happening, and they also have a few admins which are part of the core team. So when we do our analysis, we often go and interact with the team also, and get some answers straight from the team's mouth. So that basically helps in getting a much better understanding of as to where they are, and what they do, and if there is any confusion, you can sort it out with them. So yeah.
Okay, one last and silly question. I'm from non-tech background. Also, I want to get into this blockchain technology, and I have to work with the project. So, which courses will you recommend me to do?
So I think we had a chat on Clubhouse. If I remember last time, I had asked you to go through one book. I hope you have gone through that book. So rather than going through a course, just try to invest in a book. It will cost you the least and give you amazing insights.
Which book, sir?
Last time I had given you, and
No, I wasn't there on the Clubhouse. I joined Clubhouse 2 days before.
no, Bhavish, I totally remember. It was Bhavish Manik who I was talking to. So yeah, any details that you need, you can write a note to info@mintingm, and ask your further questions.
Right. So Bhavesh, I think that's you asked too many questions. So we'll have
Yeah.
to we'll take another question from the people who are waiting.
No problem. Thank you.
So next on the call is Ravi. Right, Ravi, please unmute yourself.
Hi, Devi. Thanks for the great session.
Hi.
Yeah, so my question is, in the BTC weekly chart, we are seeing a head and shoulder that is rightly coinciding with your trend line. So if we get a breakdown confirmation, should we be worried about it, or it's valid? Or what would be your insights on it?
Sorry, Ravi. I'm not. Means I did not hear you properly. So what I heard was, on Bitcoin chart you can see head and shoulder pattern, and after that I couldn't
Yeah, in
hear
the
you.
weekly chart.
There's a lot of
Yes.
echo.
Sorry. Am I audible now, Jitish?
Yeah.
The audio isn't clear. Maybe Ravi, I think it's the fans sound perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know, some disturbance, but yeah,
I
I'm just
hope so. It's
struggling
better
to
now.
understand your question. Head and shoulder pattern, and then
In BTC weekly chart, we are seeing a head and shoulder pattern. So if we get a breakdown confirmation, is it valid? So that is actually correctly coinciding with the trend line you drawn.
yeah,
So should we be worried about that, or what
yeah,
would be your insight?
yeah. So Ravi, yeah, as I said, if you are looking for long term, even if that head and shoulder pattern is broken, the next support lies at 20K. So the downside is of 35%. Ravi, the upside is of 250%. So you have to decide what is your risk appetite. If you want to catch the bottom, trust me, nobody could do that till now. Even the algos, they are built on the risk management and risk assessment, rather than catching the tops and bottoms. So if you will ask me, even the systems are indicating this, and even I personally feel that this is the best time to approach the markets. So you can just approach the markets as per your risk appetite and allocation. So if you are worried, then probably you can allocate some part of your money right now to Bitcoin, and if it further drops, then probably you can get further discounted rate for Bitcoin, and that's how you can approach this market and get invested.
Also, Ravi, as Jitesh mentioned, so everyone thinks that okay, potentially this is the bottom, or I'll wait for the bottom, and usually people either miss it, or it is very rarely that you will ever get the bottom. So the best thing to do is dollar cost average. small amounts, and eventually average down your price or average up your price. But then you will, that is the best way to go around it. You can't, it's get so it, the guy has to be a super genius to figure out what the bottoms.
Yeah, and
So
also if it further breaks and if it comes to 20K also, you will be not in the right state of mind to buy it again, and you'll see that you'll think that what if the price further goes down. So
correct.
if you believe in this asset class, Bitcoin, so I don't think so you should spend so much of time in approaching the markets, and you can just dollar cost average and approach the markets, as rightly said by Kevin.
Right. So we'll move on to the next question. Ravi, you can drop your hand emoji. Samba, you're the next person on the call. And Picasso, I see that you are putting some messages in. Don't worry, we'll take you on the call. Samba, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, good evening.
Hey, hi, good evening.
Yeah, is there any periodical profit sharing policy from the minting money STF? Don't you think that periodically, if you share the profit, that will reduce the burden on the investors? Why I'm telling you is you shared profit a long time back, and after that your coin went up to 950, and then it came down to 350. You shared the profits only at the level of 350. So by doing so, we lost valuable money. Don't you think so? Your comments on that?
Okay, so Samba, that's a good question. So I'll try to address it in this way that when our token hit $960, at that time we booked some profits like 22% we were sitting on cash, and we anticipated there's a correction, so did not sit on cash with huge amount, but 15 to 20% in cash, and the first profit was distributed at 550, and the second profit was distributed at 350. So to answer your question, there are a lot of investors with Xmint who expect periodic profit sharing payouts, and there are a lot of investors in Xmint, they don't want to have any profits at all, and they just want to stay invested and create long-term wealth. Ideally that is the best way, but to serve everybody's interest, we have to book profits, because there are also some set of investors who expect profits. So just to avoid any opportunity cost or any miss, we have tried to communicate that when we are going to distribute the profit, so that, for example, investor like you who wants to be invested in the market, you can again reinvest that capital back to Xmint, and take advantage of the growth that is happening around. So there is no periodic profit booking. Generally, we thought we'll do it on quarterly basis, but this time it happened like almost on monthly basis. In May we distributed, and in June also we distributed.
This periodic profit sharing, is it going to continue, or
so we are planning? Yeah, we are see, our team is also growing, and we are making changes to our advisory services also, all of our offerings, and with Xmint also we are in talks to decide the quarterly profit payouts. So generally, if profits has to be shared, it will happen on quarterly basis, but we are yet to decide that. So till the time we take that decision, probably you will see monthly profit sharing on Xmint, and once we decide that, probably we will share it, announce it through our group that we have decided that we will have a profit sharing once in a quarter. So mostly that will be at the end of the quarter.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Mr. Sama, you can, yeah, thank you. Yeah. So next on the call we will be taking Mr. Ruchit Shah. So please unmute yourself.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Go ahead.
Just continuing the discussion around the US liquidity thing that you mentioned. Now, the market is expecting FOMCs to announce tapering in the month of September, effective March 22. That's what the expectation. Now, my question to you is, assuming that happens and assuming the logic we've developed around liquidity and its impact on Bitcoin, when do you think the institutional money moves? Like, if the news is announced in the month of September this year, you think the institutional money makes a move in September, or you see that probably when the tapering is going to be effective, which is probably March next year? Uh, like, I want to understand how the institutional money or decisions are made. Do they swiftly act to any kind of a macro thing in your experience, or you think probably they're going to wait for that the tapering to be effective? That's my first question. And if I can ask second at the same time, uh, is there a level probably that you can or you have in mind when you say if Bitcoin reaches at this level, probably we are here for a long thing, and the recovery, I think it's now a distant thing. So just two questions I have.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Ruchik. So yeah, good one. So to take your first question, okay, regarding the news and its impact on the market. Okay. So this is my personal experience through chart reading. Okay, not anything to do with the news. Okay. So whenever there's good news around or there's any news around, so if you have heard about it, generally the market participants say this and believe in this, that buy on rumors and sell on news. Okay, so whenever there's a news out there, it is the time to sell. Okay, I mean to say it is the time to sell, as in it is the time when institutions are selling. Okay, because because it's a huge money, and if they have to sell their positions, there has to be huge buying through the retailers. And when the retailers come and buy, when there is positivity all around, euphoric time, everybody's talking about Bitcoin, Doge, this, that, 100x, 5x, 50x. And nobody who has approached stock market has those guys are directly investing into crypto markets now. So people used to come from FD to PPF to stock market to crypto. Now it is like directly PPF to crypto. So when that shift happens, that is the time when institutions are selling. Okay, and whenever it is like the world is going to end, that is the time when institutions are buying. Why? Because they narrate the story in such a way that the retailers are so much in panic, they don't know what to do, and they just start selling in losses. And that's the time when they fill their bags. So if you have attended the discussion that we had, so I showed you the volume, right? So in March 20, in November 18, and right now in May 2021, we saw huge volumes. Who are they? They are not retailers. Retailers cannot create this volume. Those are institutions or some HNI, like MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is an institution, corporate equivalent to institution. Again, Tesla, $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. This guy is again, $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. So all of these guys need that kind of supply to buy in so big amount of Bitcoins. So to answer this question, timing is always the other way around. News is inversely proportional to the market moves. Good news, downtrend; bad news, uptrend or accumulation. Okay. So yeah, I'll reiterate. Good news is distribution and bad news is accumulation for institutions. To answer your second question, okay, when we say that recovery of the Bitcoin is a distant dream, so that purely depends on the stock markets. If stock markets become weak, okay, that is when we can say Bitcoin is going to correct. And as compared to the stock market is at a 95 to 100 trillion market cap. Okay, whole of the stock market, 100 trillion market cap, vis-a-vis the crypto market cap is 1 to 1.3 trillion. So it is not even 1% of that. So imagine if that kind of sell pressure comes in, everybody is going to panic and everybody is going to sell their bitcoins as well. And when that happens, and as we discussed the stock market level also, if we see a huge correction in stock market, we see a huge correction in crypto markets also. But looking at the history, I did not discuss this point, but I'll just tell you, in 1930, when the stock markets tanked 90%, at that time the gold market outperformed all the asset class, and it went 2x. So in from 1930 to 1932, stock market tanked 89%, and in the same time period, okay, from 1930 to 1934 or 1935, gold doubled from 19 to $40. Okay, so if market tanks, same thing happened by the way in March 20, where when the stock markets tanked, gold corrected by 17 to 20%, Bitcoin corrected by 50%. But when the recovery happened, gold and Bitcoin were the ones who made new all-time highs prior to the stock market. So stock market will take a lot of time to recover, but vis-a-vis that, gold and Bitcoin will see a fall also, but they will recover the fastest. And probably I am certain on this, that Bitcoin will evolve as an alternate asset class to gold, as I truly believe that it has all the features of gold, and better in terms of asset class and properties of gold. So probably we may see Bitcoin surpassing gold's market cap, which is $10 trillion right now. So Bitcoin is at 600 or 600 odd billion dollars of market cap. So if it has to surpass gold's valuation, it has to go 20x. So in a decade, we have 20x opportunity with only Bitcoin. I hope that that is a good answer to satisfy you.
Okay, so we move on. Picasso, that is the username. He has a few questions, so I'm bringing him on board. So please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hey,
Is
hi.
my voice audible? Hi. Hi,
Yes, yes.
Jitesh. Yeah. Yes. So, I got two questions running in my mind, and yeah, my name is Picasso.
Great, great.
Yeah. Coming to that, governments are trying to regulate the crypto market, right? Even Indian government just made a statement or something like that. Like in the Twitter, it came. I don't know if it is authentic or not, but the countries are trying to make it regulate. So what is the effect that will happen on the crypto market? That's the one question. Connected to that, like Ripple case is running right now, right? SEC case with Ripple. So there is a next hearing is on October or somewhere near October. So what will be the effect on this regulatory regulation, and how it will affect the crypto market? Because last time when the US government announced that, the market fell off like 2-3 weeks back, I guess 4 weeks back. So I just want to know your point on that.
Okay.
Crypto regulation. Yeah.
Okay, so let us break down your question. First is regarding regulation, and if globally Bitcoin becomes what I can say, it is not illegal that way. But if everybody starts accepting like what El Salvador did, so personally I don't see that. These are my personal views. I may be wrong. So I don't see it happening in near future where Bitcoin becomes the currency to transact legal tender, like what it is in El Salvador. So why? Because everybody is concerned about their own currency, like the existence and dominance of dollar, pound, yuan, and accordingly their currencies. All the countries are working towards that. So but in terms of monetary policy, they means Bitcoin will certainly have regulations to handle it, to invest in it, and in terms of taxation also, like we have it for gold. So that is certainly going to happen. And sorry, I lost it. What was your question then? Yeah, regarding regulations, right? This,
Yes.
yeah. So this is regarding the regulations, and if you follow our channel Telegram, so there's one survey, okay, which was conducted around end of 2020, that there are around 20 to 25 million millionaires. So the count of millionaires all over the world in terms of dollar terms, millionaires in USD is 20 to 25 million. So all the millionaires, even if they hold one Bitcoin, okay, where the supply is 21 million, we can imagine what is going to happen to Bitcoin. Okay, so not everybody can take pie out of Bitcoin. It's going to be that precious, and that kind of demand is going to come. Okay, so immaterial of whether it replaces the current monetary system as currency, that is something that is debatable, a different topic altogether. But in terms of asset class, I see it happening all over the globe. Nobody is against holding Bitcoin or something like that except for China. Okay,
Yeah.
and in a way, it is the best thing that has happened to Bitcoin. Okay, why? Because 60% of the hash rate was generated from China. Okay, and if tomorrow anything means anything has to happen to the network, the dependency was on China, because the majority of the more than 50% of the hash rate was coming from China. Now, when they have banned it, all the miners, they have dispersed. Okay, some are moving to Kazakhstan, some are moving to North
Yeah.
America, and there's a council that has been formed, and the hash rate will also be distributed, and no common people, or no one country can manipulate or dominate the hash rate. So that is the amazing thing that has happened, and I have become even more bullish on Bitcoin now.
Okay. Yeah, that was my second question actually related to the China. So you answered that already. And the thing is that, let's say, because now hyperinflation and inflation might be coming up next in the whole world. So their own currency is going to reduce, right? At that point of time, let's say the market is like what you have just told me, like 1930s, the thing has changed from there on, and 1980s also. So the market trend might change to crypto. At that point of time, if they try to regulate the market in crypto, like maybe taxation and all, like it will the value of the crypto will increase or will it decrease? Like the fear is there that if the regulation comes up, a lot of hidden money comes out of people have to show their hidden money and all. So at that point, that is one of the reasons the market fell off, right? Like 4 weeks back, mostly. So will this hidden money, people who are hiding their money through crypto, even like I'm a techie guy, I'm an entrepreneur myself. So I got a proposal from Dubai saying that they want to hide their money, or they want to transact the money from India to Dubai, and they want to create a cryptocurrency for that, and they approached us. So the market is like that. The people want to like big shots want to just create some another coin, altcoin, and they want to use that as an exchange between one place to other. So is it a good thing, or like black market is having a good advantage because of this crypto and all, but regulation if comes up, what will happen to the black market, and how much of the acquisition is there of the black market in this crypto world? Because if the regulation comes up, black market has to follow, or maybe they have to show up, or maybe they have to come up with some other alternative way to hide their money. So my question is that what will happen? Like, I just want to know if you have any idea about how much of the black money is there in this crypto world. If regulation comes up, what will happen to them?
Is it black money or black market activities?
Black market. Yeah, I just get confused.
Okay. So because that's an interesting question, and we can talk about it for hours and hours.
Okay.
So regarding black market, as such, I do not have the number or what percentage of the wealth or money circulation is into black market activities. But I'll just try to give you a scenario, a real-time, real-world scenario that even with gold. So let's try to understand. Money chases what? Money chases appreciation. Okay, where they have some opportunity to get some returns or double their money or something like that. Okay. And with gold we have this feature right now. Okay, all the properties, why gold is there so valuable, never used in industries, except for the ornaments that we use. Gold is not used anywhere, but still it holds that superior position in society. From 5,000 years of existence, gold was always there, is there, and will remain in existence. Similarly, gold is also involved in a lot of black market activities, if you know, right? So people who do not want to transact in cash, what do they transact in? Now also they transact in gold, okay, or in physical cash. There are ways where people do tax invasion and make their money the black money, okay, without paying tax, and that is moved into the black market activities. So with crypto, I'm sure if you are a techie that there was a case which was solved, like the ransom or the money that was paid in Bitcoin, they backtracked it and took custody of that money. So it is not that difficult to backtrack and monitor the transaction that happens on the Bitcoin. But yes, certainly there are many cryptocurrencies which does not give you this opportunity to backtrack, like proof of knowledge based projects, like for example, I think
Monero, Zcash.
Monero is there, Zcash is there. These projects, one cannot track from where money is flowing to which ID. So it is designed in that way. So if at all there are regulations, maybe there will be regulations on such projects, and their existence is questionable or may be questionable. But with Bitcoin, I don't see this as a blocker or a challenge in terms of regulating.
Also, one more point. It is so I've shared a link. So the crypto, so it is the amount of Bitcoin I would say used by criminals is actually lower than single digit percentages, like 5% lower than that. So I've attached a link to it. You can, it's a report by Chain Analysis. Yeah, you can just have a look at exactly what the numbers are, but it is not that heavy. It used to be, I would say it used to be a very big number back when Bitcoin wasn't that mainstream, and it was really it was in the double digits prior a lot of public attention, but now it has dropped down. Also, one more point I would like to add is that obviously money is Bitcoin is private, right? You can't really see who owns what, but also on the other end, it is you can see all the transactions though. So it is not completely like I don't know who's doing what. I can see what addresses are transacting what amount. All I have to do, if I'm an investigator, all I have to do is figure out what address the Bitcoin was transacted to. All I need to do is backtrack it to USD conversion, which usually that's what they do, convert into USD. So all I have to do is backtrack it to an exchange where the conversion happens, look up who the account belongs to, and there you go, I catch the guy. So it is not exactly a best way, I would say an ideal method of conducting criminal activities. But yeah, so which is hence the number is also dropped, right? You have also you have a lot of these blockchain audit firms like TRM Labs, who recently tied up with WazirX, right? To yeah, so there are firms out there who can kind of catch you. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Picasso. By the way, weird name.
Hey, no, I like the name.
Okay, because of your you can just drop the hand.
Interesting question. Yes.
Yeah, and also, so we have one more guy, Aftab, and then I think if there is no more questions, we'll stop with today. So Aftab, I'm bringing you to the call. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening.
Hey, hi. Good evening.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
So I'm a newbie, right? So what I can see is that there are so many negative news about Bitcoin right now.
Mhm.
Was there the same situation in 2018 as well?
Yeah, yeah. So, all the dips. If you were there, probably see, we are fortunately, luckily, there in this space from 2017. So all the dips, may it be 80% dip, 30% dip, 50% dip. Everywhere it seems like Bitcoin is going to die, going to go to zero, like that. They narrate the story, and they means the powerful hands, people with lot of money. They narrate the story with the help of the media houses, that they create this sentiment that Bitcoin is going to die. People, countries are going to ban it, or everybody is going to lose the money. This is the narrative, okay, that happens. At the same time, after 2 months or 3 months, the narrative is like Bitcoin is the ultimate winner. Nothing is going to happen to Bitcoin. Nobody can stop Bitcoin, because it works in decentralized way. And so basically we have to do just the reverse of that. Whenever there is euphoria, we have to just we don't have to do anything. We have to just stay away from the market, or take some profit if we need that money, okay. But if we have kept that money for long term wealth creation, then do not touch that money at all. So by the way, I have a friend who entered Bitcoin at $300, and he did not do anything after that, okay. After 2017 fall also of 80%, he did not do anything. And he's just holding that Bitcoins. So he's a millionaire already, okay. uh, so that is what I'm just trying to tell you. News will come and go, people will come and go, lot of things will happen. If we believe in this asset class, we have to just stay invested. And when we have to stay invested, we have to allocate the money that we have with us in a very smart way, so that this wild swings which come in the Bitcoin very often of 50%, 80% drop, this should not take away our sleep. So for example, if I have 100 rupees, I'll not put all of my 100 rupees over there. Okay, if I cannot digest the volatility, I will put probably 50 rupees, because that is my risk appetite. Somebody may put just 10 rupees, because that is a conservative investor. So we have to just position ourselves in a very smart way in terms of allocation, and just not do anything, just order. After, was that of any help? Can you hear me, Kevin? Hello. Hmm.
So we have one more question from Picasso. So yeah, he missed that, because you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, yes, yes. Thank you. This is the last question, like related to proof of stake and proof of work.
Mhm.
Like mining is taking a lot of energy and all. Going eco-friendly is important, and lot of hate and negativity is coming for Bitcoin. For one of the main reasons is this. Like there are altcoins like ADA is Cardano is there, Ripple is there, which go by proof of stake, and they don't consume much as compared to Bitcoin. So because there is a eco-friendly alternatives people are looking for, and Bitcoin is getting this slash hate and all. But anyway, as you said, it has its own market and it will strive it. But these coins also, like they are very new compared to Bitcoin. Like, let's say the world is looking for alternative to reduce the consumption of energy. So will these coins also raise as big as Bitcoin, or maybe near to them, or little whatever in the top? They're already in top 5, top 10 coins. Will the value will increase because people will see alternative way of making exchanges? And when it comes to Ripple also, 10,000 transactions per second or per node. 10,000 transactions per node is what it does. So that's a huge number compared to Bitcoin or ADA or other big coins in the market. So will that also is something that people will look into further in the future, because the market is increasing. People are coming into crypto market more and more. Number of accounts are being created and people are exchanging a lot of money. But further in the future, when it is accepted by the whole world as a proper market, there will be more people coming in. At that point of time, mining is considered as a serious thing, and also this coins which doesn't take a lot of energy and transact so fast will have a more weightage, right? That's the question. Like, it's an inquisitive question.
Okay, I got that. It's a wonderful question, Picasso. So I'll try to answer it this way.
And thanks, I'm going mute. Okay.
Okay, no
yeah.
problem. No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, we everybody's talking about environmental problems that we may face with Bitcoin's proof of work consensus. And I just a thought from my side. There's so much of energy required to mine 1 gram of gold. Okay, and if you calculate that vis-a-vis the Bitcoin does not consume anything as compared to that. Okay, in terms of energy. Okay, so it's been a new thing that is in talks. Okay, and the proof of work definitely consumes a lot of energy, electricity, as compared to proof of stake. But I think if we have source as green energy, okay, I don't think so it is a problem. And for the miners who mine Bitcoin, they always try for cheaper source of energy, and green energy is one of the cheapest source of energy. So if possible, given an option, they always would prefer green energy over the coal-based or other environmental hazard related energies. So that is one thing. Secondly, we have to also understand that Bitcoin has has different properties as compared to this coins. Okay, like for example, let us not talk about tokens, but let us talk about the projects and the purpose of their existence. For example, Bitcoin is serving a very niche purpose of cross-border transaction of funds. Okay, in a very decentralized way. Now you will have a question. Ripple also does that. Ripple does that in a more centralized way. Okay, and also when you talk about tokenomics, it is not that robust as it is for Bitcoin. Okay, and that's why we cannot compare Ripple to Bitcoin. Talking about Cardano, it is a enterprise level solutioning. Okay, so it is providing solutions to enterprises to go the decentralized way. Okay, so that is the purpose of Cardano. Talk about Ethereum. It is a it's a virtual machine. Okay, wherein anybody could come and what I can say, build their applications over it. That is purpose of Ethereum. So one needs to understand what is the purpose of the project, what is the problem that it is trying to solve. So if you see our weekly reports, the very first thing that we try to address is what is the issue the project is trying to solve. Okay, after that we need to understand the tech behind it. Okay, whether proof of work or proof of stake, proof of history, or proof of knowledge, or whatever it is. Okay, so these are the different aspects on which we can compare the projects with each other. Like for example, we cannot compare gold with oil, because oil has a lot of usage utility around it, gold doesn't have. So for example, if you call Bitcoin as digital gold, and Ethereum as digital oil, they cannot be compared because their utility is different. Their purpose of existence is different. So that is how I look at this space, and that is how I can address your question, and hopefully, it answers.
Also on the side note, Elon Musk had, by the way, mentioned that when they decided to drop Bitcoin as a payment for Tesla, he had mentioned that if the mining community, if they approximately bring they use clean energy by approximately 50%, they would Tesla would probably start accepting Bitcoin again, right? So I think it was published 2 days ago. The survey was conducted, and turns out that 56% of the energy used is now renewable energy and clean energy. And now everyone's just waiting as to now when is the news going to drop. So let's see. That's just a side note. We actually don't know if we'll do it or not, but that is also something interesting to look forward to. Anyways, I think I think we'll close the session for today. I think we had too many questions, and no one's raising their hand, so I'm assuming no one really has any question for us.
Yeah. Also, if we have missed out on any of the questions, feel free to write to us on at info@mintingapp.com or on Telegram @Anizur. Okay, so you can anytime get in touch with us, and we can try to address your question to your satisfaction.
Right, and there is one small thing addressing Dr. Prakash. We'll definitely we'll definitely plan a clubhouse session, and probably have a lot more people coming in there. So the idea is that of having a Zoom call is that you could see Jitesh's face. So that is the
Yeah. By the way, there was a there was a death in our family, and I had to cut my hair. So I was really not comfortable. But then I thought, no, it does not make sense that these are the natural things that keep on happening, and we should keep on doing our catch-up sessions. So yeah, that's how we met again after a month almost. Sorry, Kevin.
So then I guess that's it for today, and probably we'll catch up. Please have a look at your Telegram. Just keep looking for updates on our Telegram channel. Probably we'll whenever we plan to do next, which probably might be next week, or we'll let you know. So do just keep an eye out on the Telegram channel. We'll connect just like this, where we'll take questions personally from you instead of me asking them. All right,
Okay.
all right, guys. Take care.
I hope you enjoyed the session. Yeah, take care.